We know the housing market is currently experiencing a shift. We also know we're headed into the winter market. Does it make sense for you to list your home here in the central Maine market as we head into these months? Here are the top 3 questions that you should be asking yourself. Hello Central Maine, it is your realtor Nick Isgro with eXp Realty, and as I just stated at the beginning, today we're going to go over my top 3 questions that you might want to ask yourself with a little data behind some of them as to whether or not it's still a good idea for you to sell your home. Now before I get into that, I want to welcome you here to the channel. If you've never been here before, we cover all things real estate here in the state of Maine, but particularly right here in the central Maine market. If that is of interest to you or adds value to your process in the buying and selling of homes, maybe you just like real estate, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit the like button on this video, hit subscribe, knock the little alarm bell. You'll be notified every time I put out new content. Jumping right off the bat here, I want to get into the first thing you want to consider if you're thinking about selling your home right now, and that is the supply side of things. As you know, we go over this all of the time here. Supply is still at a historically low level. We are a long way off from frankly becoming a buyer's market. Now, buyers have regained some negotiating power, but take a look at this graph that I want to bring up here. This is a chart of national housing supply that has been from prior to the 2008-2010 time period. You can see where inventory spiked post-crisis, 2010, 2011, and you can see where we are now. We're still less than 6 months of supply, about 3 months of supply, 3.5 months nationally. Here in Kennebec County, it's really been more about 1.5, 1.25 months worth of supply over the last couple of months. So far from getting to that point where we would call it a buyer's market, even though we are getting back to a little bit of negotiating. The other thing you might want to consider when you're thinking about inventory is that right now, there's a lot of sellers who are going to be holding off for the holiday rush, giving you a chance to make your house stand out even more in the low inventory that we have right now. Now, the second question you might be asking yourself right now is, are there still buyers out there? And certainly that's a concern for a lot of people. As we know, we've seen a lot of high inflation. We've seen interest rates rise over the last year, and it looks like they're going to remain at an elevated level, at least for the coming months that we can foretell. And a lot of people are asking, are the buyers still there? The good news is, yes, there's still a lot of buyers out there in the market. And interestingly enough, that is being particularly driven by the millennial generation. The millennials, who have been known always as the renter generation, are now not only coming out to buy homes, but they are coming in as strong, savvy, ready buyers in the marketplace. In fact, at about 80 million strong, the millennial generation currently is making up about 43% of home buying activity in the market. So while higher interest rates have squeezed some buyers out of the market, a lot of times it's either moving people from one price point to another, or it's simply thinning the herd in any particular price category, or just bringing more cash to the table. But they haven't gone away. These people want homes, they're looking to get in homes. And if you think about it, if you're somebody who's starting a family or you're moving jobs, you're not going to put your life on hold because the interest rates went from 3 to 6%. That's just probably not going to happen if you are in a situation where you need to buy a home, or it's just the right time in your life to make that choice for you and for your family. The third and final question that you want to ask yourself, as far as the big questions about whether you should or shouldn't sell right now, if this happens to be the right time for you to sell, is, can I afford my next home? And there's some good news and good data here on this as well. As we just covered on this channel last week, home equity in America is at an all-time high. In fact, the average homeowner has about $300,000 worth of equity in their home. Think about what the market has done over the last few years. Really, since 2008, there's been a steady increase in the equity. We know that a lot of these borrowers are much stronger borrowers that were out there before, larger down payments, firmer loans that were on the books that have been steadily paying off over the years. And as we know, homes going into that foreclosure status, into the forbearance process, are at an all-time low, which means the loans are getting paid and equity is rising along with the marketplace. So there's a good chance, if you own a home right now, that you have a surplus of equity that could be used as a very, very strong down payment to get you where you need to go on the next purchase. So those are 3 really important things that you want to consider when you're thinking about selling right now. But as I always want to say, whether you're a buyer or a seller, it really comes down to whether this is or is not the right time for you in your life to make that decision. Because, you know, I can tell you all about the market, but at the end of the day, it's what's going on in your life. It's what's going on with you that's driving you to make the decision to want to sell your home, to maybe want to purchase your next home. That's going to be the driver of whether you should or shouldn't. And what I always like to say is it has less to do with the marketplace, because the markets are always going to be changing and we can always help you as real estate professionals navigate through whatever market we're in. What's more important is whether this is or is not the right time for you, and only you can really make that determination. Now, that being said, if you do want to speak to a real estate professional and you want to kind of go over the pros and cons, talk about where you are in the market right now, all of my contact information is linked in the post below. Reach out, would love to chat with you about that and help you in any way that I can. Of course, if you are in the marketplace right now, or you've been thinking about it and you've had some of these same concerns in your mind, or maybe you have some other things that you think should be on the list, go ahead and drop a comment below. Would love to hear from you there and engage with you in the comments. You guys are always coming up with really great and insightful comments, and I appreciate all of them. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you sticking around to the end of this video, and until the next one, I'll see you next time.